How effective are you going to be when you fight and you're not fighting from a position of victory or position of hope?
They think guys are abstaining. They're not. It's because they just can't get that access.
Almost all of us were shown some form of pornography at a young age.
They're going to help you manage all of this data, but it's really an access point.
What was the most influential sources to the Founding Fathers? 34% of all the quotes they identified came out of the Bible.
We have accounted for every single terrorist cell that we know that hates America have crossed over.
Have they been captured?
No.
We're now in a war of narratives versus the truth.
For COVID, that treatment strategy came to me as an answer to prayer in a dream.
25 to 47% of all trafficking is familial.
Right.
Now it's
In the U.S.
In the U.S. Now it's the caregiver. So yes, let's highlight the evil. We do. But let's speak hope. Welcome to The Bottom Line. Jaco Booyens here. Here you get the bottom line because, look, God calls us to truth. His word is truth. It's the absolute truth. It's nothing but the truth. And so we're going to give you information from the source and try and ask questions that's provocative with purpose and bring people onto the show that could shed new light, new angle on some of the things that we talk about in this culture as if it's flippant. Things like an open border. Things like throwing out numbers like trillions of dollars in debt or 20 million people crossing the border. And them lying to you saying, well, it's around 10 million total illegal immigrants in our country. That number was 10 million when Barack Obama was in office. And then he deported 3 million people, and he said, now there's only 10 million left. That's 9 years ago. No, we're gonna point to the truth. And so today, I'm very honored to bring a friend, truly a friend, back that has been to the border with us, that has defended and helped protect this country as a life mission, and is now stepping in as a call from God to say, okay, I want to do more. Victor Avila, welcome back.
Thank you, Jaco. Thank you. It was great to be back with you.
Always an honor. Always an honor. You know, and I'm just going to go straight to the jugular. Serving your nation in the country and out of the country. We are always going to honor Agent Zapata, your partner,
absolutely,
who lost his life a number of years ago last week.
Mm-hmm.
You were shot in that firefight. You fought for your life, serving this nation.
Absolutely.
Most people that go through that, and some may have seen the show where we tackled that particular subject, most people who go through that, say, okay, did my bit, did my part, and you're saying, I'm still here. I still want to fight for my country. And so now you're running for U.S. Congress, and I am excited.
So am I. By the grace of God, and because of His grace, I'm here to continue that fight. I do it for a lot of different reasons, for the protection of our sovereignty, the protection of our state and our country. I'm a big believer in public safety and law and order. And the direction that I see our country headed in is not a good one. You know that my subject, and I appreciate everything that you do for human trafficking, because that's my subject matter expertise. And it touches my heart that all the stuff that I did in accomplishing in taking down human traffickers, rescuing women and children from these horrific conditions, the cartels, the drugs. How is it that this administration that we're under right now has completely undone all of those efforts and given carte blanche to these criminal organizations and this evilness that has infiltrated our country? We need to go back in there. We need to go back in there and fight. We need to go back there and help save our country, and I want to be part of that solution.
You know, my opinion before a question, I think the realization that's coming in, maybe even for you, and this is a question, when did you realize that, okay, as an agent in law enforcement, serving our nation in Mexico, combating cartels, smuggling, drugs, trafficking, interfacing with all other agencies and departments, whether it's DEA, Border Patrol, National Guard, all of it, right? Truly being a last line of defense before bad comes into our country.
Correct.
Okay? To the point where your partner loses his life, you fight for your life being shot, okay, in a firefight. When did you realize that, okay, hold on one second. The servicemen and women who are doing this on the ground, if they don't have air support and cover from the politicians, all this work gets undone.
I'm telling you.
When did you realize that?
I had this, I'm not exaggerating, I had this conversation yesterday with my wife, and I used this example of a term that we use in law enforcement is backup. I've got your six. I've got your back. Well, I don't feel the American people feel that they have the backing and the support of their government. That's supposed to be the role. Public safety is the number one issue at every level.
Taxes.
That's why we pay taxes. The number one issue at every level, and the number one resource is fire and police and protection. We want to be safe in our neighborhoods. When I saw that slipping away, and the big difference here, Jaco, is that when I was working, and back then we had, the big difference now is that we actually had enforcement of the law. Yeah. We were working to dismantle these groups, to take them down, to hold them accountable, to imprison the guilty ones, all that. That doesn't exist right now. These people have had complete unstoppable access through people, money, drugs, and many other aspects that trickles into our economies. Support,
financial support from the U.S. government, aid from NGOs.
We are the number one facilitator of what's happening. We, the Biden administration, our government, the State Department, FEMA, are trickling millions, possibly billions of dollars to these non-governmental organizations that have been given this authority that I used to put in jail for the activities that they're doing right now. And it's a violation of 8 U.S.C. 1324, alien smuggling. I used to convict people. I used to arrest you and put you through the system because you put people in the back of a tractor trailer or in a van and transport them throughout the country. That's illegal. Well, it's not under this administration. They have ignored the law, are legislatively passed.
To that point, though, Victor,
yes,
the laws are still on the books.
They still exist.
They're just violating the law.
They're beyond violating.
So the administration is complicit and introduces and active in criminal activity. Breaking the law, meaning criminal activity. And because the law wasn't absolved. The law is still there. It's still illegal. They just don't care.
I have the books in my house. Right? That's 100% accurate. The Immigration Nationality Act is still the same. It hasn't been amended. There hasn't been a constitutional amendment or a new law to abolish those laws. And those laws are not just immigration law, asylum criteria, human trafficking, child endangerment laws. There's many others that have been completely ignored, like if they didn't exist. And it's very dangerous because we see the number of children been lost, the number of deaths due to fentanyl poisoning, the amounts of death and rapes that the migrants themselves have been suffered.
Yeah.
So you talk about
in process
defending the border.
It's humanitarian violations.
That's the key.
Upon violations. You stood with me.
Yes.
On a grave site of a child that didn't have a name, baby John Doe.
That's right.
On Texas soil, and that child is not an American. The grave digger spoke to us.
Yep.
This is unthinkable that we're burying children from other countries where their families may not even know where they are, what happened to them. And this administration is playing it off like it's like this should be okay, like this is who we've become. And that's a misrepresentation. I think that you said it. We do not have, our 6 is not covered.
It's not. It's not. And how many more examples of death do they need? I mean, what more? Now, they happen to be not with bullets. They happen to not be with bombs, but they happen to be with counterfeit pills. Well, to me, death is death. And it is that's the crisis. That's the epidemic in our country. And I follow you closely because you talk about the other side that, yes, we are the consumers of those drugs. Yes, we are the ones buying the children in this country. And I want to be part of that solution as well. Right.
But it doesn't mean if you know you have an addict, you don't bring them cocaine.
No.
Okay, that's
right,
not how you
right.
solve that problem. You don't open the border, but they don't care. They don't care. And so if I may ask you this, so then you make a decision and say, okay, listen, sit with your wife. I know you're a man of God, you're a praying man, and obviously prayed and said, okay, we're going to step in, we're going to run this race. It's not any race.
No.
This race, according to me, with all the work we've done on the border, we've had 2 or 3 trips together. 11 in the last 12 months. With the work we've done on the border against human trafficking, seeing firsthand who is aiding and abetting, all the way from Governor Abbott and all the players, put all of them on the table. There's a particular player in a particular district where everything we just talked about is ground zero. It is ground zero. When you talk Eagle Pass, when you talk, Del Rio, it is, yes, El Paso, and yes, the San Diego border, but Eagle Pass is the most contentious area for this whole crisis, right? Whether it's private property that we stood on, whether it's whatever, right? And there's an election for that district representation in U.S. Congress, and that's what you're running for. And Victor, I can tell you that I cannot think of another American that's more suited to go to U.S. Congress and turn tables over and solve this problem, and saying, fought for our country, got shot for this very issue, built systems that's now demolished, inside information like nobody else, firsthand, throughout. This is the guy. You are the guy that has to go to Washington, D.C. and sit in the U.S. Congress and go help fix this.
Yeah, I'd love to be part of the House Homeland Security Committee, where they would actually have somebody that worked for Homeland Security, that understands the root cause. Remember that term? The root cause. I know the root cause, and it's a lot of it is cartels, foreign policy, China, Iran, the bigger picture, our national security and implications of what this open border system and the different areas that it's affected us in the economy, healthcare, schooling, criminal justice system, and it's been impactful. But you're right about this district, and I wouldn't be running if the sitting incumbent would have been at least doing a decent job, or even have done nothing. But that's not the case here. And I'll say his name only one time so people know who I'm running against. His name is Tony Gonzalez. And the reason why I'm trying to primary him is because of his actions in Congress. No longer do I pay attention to what they say, because he says completely the opposite
of what he's doing,
of what he's actually doing in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to outline some of these votes because he claims to be a conservative Republican. He has an R in front of his name, but continues to act. He's actually, I think, the second to the last congressman with the voting record. I think he's at the 60% of being conservative. Worst.
Second worst voting records. Yeah.
He's he votes with the left. And I'm talking about votes for like January 6th committee, same-sex marriage twice, drag shows in the military, taxpayer funded, killed border security bills.
Killed several border security bills. And again, I want to reiterate to people, we're talking about ground zero. The congressman that literally would have his finger on the pulse, where all of Congress, whether it's Chip Roy that does great work, or Mary Miller from Chicago that flies down and comes fights on the border, you would think the guy who's a Republican, who's from the district where the contention is taking place, where Biden's people are unlocking gates, welding them open. We were there. Where right? That congressman would be the loudest voice in the land, would be in the governor's office, would be pushing to say, Texas Guard would be the champion for national security, for children not dying, for not fishing kids out of the river, for not fentanyl flowing across the border, for China not buying land in the district. You would think that would be the guy, because that's what he would have been elected for, to do for the people, right?
That's what they expected. That's what he told them.
Did zero.
And did nothing of that and betrayed them. And so now they feel betrayed, they feel abandoned, and that's why the Republican Party of Texas censured him. He's only the 4th congressman in history to be censured. It's very difficult to censure a sitting member of Congress, but because of his actions, 23 counties in the district censured him. He doesn't care about the censure. His censure is really gives you an idea of where the people stand. No longer are they going to sit there and idle and say, we're going to take this from our elected officials when they have lied to us. But I'll tell you the latest of what they've been telling me in the campaign trail is that they just want representation. They want a representative that will at least show up. I mean, that's the bare minimum as a Congress, is just be present. I sat down with the mayor of Del Rio for 2 hours, had a great conversation with him. It was giving me a lot of the issues local, what's going on in Del Rio. They're really desperate for some kind of secondary school. They want a trade school there. And I'm thinking these are not very difficult asks. I think I would be able to get that done in Washington. And I said, Mayor, why haven't you addressed this with the incumbent? Why haven't you told him everything that you've told me? He says, I haven't seen him or spoken to him in over 2 years. And that said it all.
Victor, I'll say this. The age have come to where America cannot be a no-show. On the international playground, domestically, in the lives of families that are struggling, we need to show up. And showing up for me is not just show up. Okay, no participation trophy in my world. The world I come from, it's you earn it. No, we need to lead. I'll ask any viewer, simple question. Have you, with your own eyeballs or your own ears, heard Tony Gonzalez on a national stage as a U.S. congressman, not a Texas state representative? Have you heard him talk about the border? Have you seen him anywhere? Have you seen him put his own appeal and his reputation on the line? Have you seen him take a stand against the left? Have you seen him go against Biden? Have you seen him team up with Ken Paxton and suing Biden 22 times? Have you seen him in the governor's office? Crickets. Not fit to serve. Not fit to serve. In a corporate world, you cut that player.
Immediately would never tolerate that. But that's one of the reasons why I'm running, is to shift the power back to the people.
After
we, the people, they get to dictate to us. I know my role as an employee all my life as an employee of the federal government. I see it no different. The difference is here the employer is the people, and I'm going to go work for them, and I'm going to go be their voice, and I will fight. I will turn tables. I will knock on doors, and I will talk to anyone. Boy, do I want to talk to people. People think, well, you're going to go talk to the Democrats? How about we start with our own party?
Yep.
That continue to vote with the left. How about we talk there? How about we address Mexico in that situation? What's going on right now, Jaco, and I don't like it, is that deal, the secret deal that the U.S. made with Mexico. I know you're aware of this. I don't like it. I don't like these political maneuvers and games that are not benefiting us. They're temporary Band-Aids so they could look good politically on both sides, by the way. Mm-hmm. For people to know, Mexico has a big presidential election coming up in June of this year. And so they went up and crafted something that'll benefit both of them to try to stay in power. But it's not for you or for me. It's not. As a matter of fact, it's not even for the migrant that is coming here illegally. They are also the ones getting the short end of the stick. Abused.
100%.
All those things.
Completely lied to.
My friend Tom Holman, and I told him I would always repeat this. He says, tell me something. Give me a reason or what's the downside to having a secure border. I want somebody to give me the answer to that, because there isn't.
No.
As a matter of fact, there's a lot of pluses. You would save lives. You would save rapes. You would save people from drowning in the river. You would save a lot of things from these migrants and the situations, even when they're already in this country. They're being abused and exploited within our own country.
Yes. Victor, we by opening the border, they wrote the president of Mexico a blank check to not be accountable, to not enforce law and order in his own country, to not get a handle on the Mexican National Guard that's committing crime. I mean, we speak to the migrants. That's talking about the extortion from the Mexican National Guard, the federalists, the police, the corruption, the cartels running the border, basically on practically both sides of the border, but definitely on their side. He's just saying, yeah, come through my country. I want people to think about this because of what Biden did. The Mexican president basically took all homeless. I walked in Piedras Negras with some of our security detail, and I'm asking business owners, hey, where are all the homeless? You guys don't have any homeless? And he goes, no, we send them across the river. And literally I had a man, he can't speak English. I'm buying true Mexican food, okay, not Tex-Mex.
Right.
True Mexican food from this man. And I'm asking him, and he said, no, we all know America's our welfare program. It's our welfare program. Our homeless, our come out of prison, send them there. It's just the Mexican president is just sitting there going, come through my country, but don't stop. Just keep on going. Go to Uncle Joe. They'll take care of you. And then we track these folks to New York, go to the Roosevelt Hotel, shut the whole hotel down. I posted videos on this. And then you stay there for 3 days and you watch the same mom and a 6-month-old baby go into the hotel. They keep her for 72 hours. She's got a nice hotel. She thinks, man, I made it in America. She gets 3 meals a day, 3 square meals. And then they say, now we need to make room. And they let her out on the streets of New York. It's 39 degrees. She ends up sleeping on a heat grid in the street with a 6-month-old child. That's on the hands of Joe Biden and this administration. Then she starts selling her body because she's got to eat or she's got to steal. She doesn't want to steal. This is her talking to me, okay? Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to steal because she's afraid of getting arrested if she steals, and then they separate her from her child, so she sells her body. She covers her child with a blanket so her child won't see. Then they come to her and say, well, we get more money for a child than for you. That is the progression. And it started with a president of a country lying to that woman through NGOs, Catholic Relief Mission,
Endeavors, Border Mission Hope,
lying to them, saying, come, you can work here, come. You and I stood at the border together and interviewed. You interviewed 5 young men and an older gentleman, and they told you, I was there, if you remember, hey, we had to put like a lien on our parents' homes.
That's right.
And if we don't pay the cartel here, they go beat up our parents and take my parents home in El Salvador.
On credit. They're on credit. Correct.
This is who's talking about this. This is on the hands. Our administration did this. We incentivized this. We told them, come. And then my latest number is that from the World Health Organization, from the United Nations, and from FEMA, over $1 billion has flooded into Catholic Relief Mission in the South, promoting people to come. They've got flyers, handouts. Now let's talk about what does that do? Law enforcement. You're a law enforcement official, highly trained, understand the law. How at risk are we as a country?
Oh my goodness, the risk is super high. By the way, before I forget, when we go talking about Mexico, the $59 billion that Mexican nationals illegally in our country are sending back in remittances to Mexico. Mexico alone,
tax free.
They're not
paying
assimilating
taxes.
here. They're
Yeah.
not paying taxes.
Yeah.
They're maintaining. Mexico knows that. They depend on that money.
59
billion. That was last year alone. So I want people to understand the economic impact and why Mexico likes their people to come over here, because they have their cake and eat it too. They get rid of the people, but not the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you talk about the risk. My goodness, I focus a lot on the victims of crime. Especially, we have a crime surge in our own country. We have crime that's out of control to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Street crime, property crime, violent crime, rapes, sexual crimes. Now you add this formula of people from over 150 countries coming in here. Not everybody, but a good percentage of them committing additional crimes. Well, I talk to these sheriffs and police chiefs around the country, and they tell me, Victor, we don't have additional police officers. We don't have more sheriff's deputies. It's still us.
No, remember, we defunded the police.
Right, and on top of that, they're defunding them. They're taking away the resources, and yet we are forced to absorb that crime, and something has to give. Yeah. And what gives? Public safety, and Americans becoming victims at the hands of these people. And my thing is that at that point, it's too late. We're trying, as a law enforcement agent, we were trying to prevent crime. Now, a lot of times you are trying to be proactive, but the truth is we're reactive to when crime happens. Right now, we can't prevent, we can't nothing. We are just letting it happen. And even if we wanted to do something about it, the criminal justice system, the way it's set up at the federal level, especially at the state level, with these DAs, that you see the revolving door on Americans, and especially on people that are here illegally for some reason, Jaco. They have, the law doesn't apply to them, and they get released and commit additional crimes. Recidivism. I mean,
67% is the latest number in Texas.
I want people to understand that it's the same people
60%
committing these crimes.
Recidivism.
Imagine if it was new people committing crimes all the time, this wouldn't happen. No, it's the police officer knows the person that they put in jail, and they get released sometimes during their own shift, and they see him again in the evening, and they're like, wait a minute, I just put you in. Well, I'm out because of the bail reform laws, because they're a sanctuary city, because we don't want to alert ICE to come and detain this person. But how many times do we have to see that person get released and commit an additional, more heinous crime?
No, it gets more violent.
More violent.
The numbers, the records show, because it's emboldened, right? And crime begets crime. So an illegal faction that commits crime and gets away with it actually tells the local aspect, the local faction that lives here, that are Americans, like, dude, the sheriff's not in town.
You get away with it.
The proverbial saying, jail's closed, go, do, rob. And then you go so egregious to the federal government say, well, you can steal up to $930 and it's not a crime. It's like, what? I'm from Africa, you know that. Mm-hmm. This is how Central Africa is run. It is a banana republic. It is lawlessness. And unfortunately, yes, the migrants, they're abused. They are abused. They don't know it, but they are pawns. They're a means to an end, 100%. They're a means to an end. But American citizens are being harmed left, right. Every single day you see something else. And it's all of it, and it's unacceptable. All right, Victor. It's almost March.
We're around the corner.
March 4th is
March 5th.
Yeah, March 4th is Super Tuesday, or is it the 5th?
March
5th is Super Tuesday. We'll know March 5th.
We'll know.
We're not close to being done with this episode, but we're in a place where I want to say to people, Victor Avila, not hard to remember. It's a unique name, Victor Avila, a patriot, a hero for this country, have sacrificed, fought for his life almost left a widow, still here, still fighting, stepping in, saying, please, coach, put me back in. I think I have value to offer. A man of God, the incumbent, no show. As a matter of fact, not a no show for us, but actually a show for the opposite.
That's actually true.
Voting bills down to keep the border safe, and then voting things that are anti-God, anti-country. It's not who we are. We're not that. We're not a country that should stand by when children get abused and get lied to. Doesn't deserve an R next to his name. That's not the value system. And so I'm asking people that when they get to the poll and they vote, that they pay critical attention to not just vote for the President of the United States. You have to pray into the whole ticket. Every name represents people and has a place. The President of the United States is not the congressman from District 23. Okay? We need a congressman from District 23 that will represent the people. You go down there, you find Victor Avila's name, and you vote for Victor Avila. And if you live in another state, you call your Texas friends, you call your Texas family. If you care about the border, if you get pick it. I always tell people, pick it. What is it? What's going to make you move? Just for the love of life, get activated. Is it children being raped? Is it trafficking? Is it fentanyl death? Is it no border? Is it crime?
Economy?
Is it property taxes? Is it the economy? Is it China? I mean, how many?
We have too many to choose from.
This is Baskin Robbins. Pick your flavor. I mean, just pick something and then do something. I pick all of them for all those reasons, Victor. Because I know one thing for sure. When you're in Washington, you're going to do what you did when no one knew you were in Mexico and you took bullets for this country. All the same. You did it when no one was watching. You did it when there wasn't fame or acclaim. You couldn't take any credit. The agency wouldn't allow you to. Okay? That's the, and across this nation, I want to encourage people, elect those individuals. People with skin in the game. People with a critical expertise on the subject. Right? How many of those politicians in D.C. have never seen the border?
And they come for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden they think they're experts on it, and they still miss what you and I have seen. And I don't know, and that's very critical, because you would think, well, they got this briefing. They're still missing the bigger picture, because it is more complicated than just illegal immigration.
Yes.
It's a bigger picture. But I want to share something with you, because I'm about solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this touches your heart, and I would love for you to be part of this when I get in there. I'm gonna form a task force.
I'm in.
And
my name's first.
And you know what this task force is going to be? Is we're going to rescue these 385,000 children that this government has allowed
abandoned,
and
lost.
There's about almost 100,000 that are lost. People tell me, "Oh, we don't know where." We're going to find them.
We will find them.
We're the police. We're going to find them. We're going to rescue these kids. That's going to be a priority for me. We're not going to allow illegals to get on an airplane anymore without an ID. We're going to protect our
bypass
country.
TSA. How many of you stood at TSA and you see there's a manila envelope and all the same jacket, and they walked in and be like, this is what Victor's talking about. The law doesn't apply.
These are logistical changes that we must make, and I will make them. You talk about defunding? We are going to defund the NGOs through the State Department and FEMA, and stop feeding them the money that they function. We may have to
investigate some of them.
Oh, boy. You know I'm an investigator at heart.
Yeah, we may have to investigate some of them.
The C3, C4 status that they have,
it's time to turn the lights on and let the cockroaches run. Yeah, no, seriously. This is it. And I know you'll do it.
Yes.
Because you have. This is not, well, when I'm there, I'll do it. I always say, show me the guy who's doing it in the dark. Yeah, like the David Gogginses of the world that runs 100 miles. Mm-hmm. When he tells people to run, and his wife is driving behind him in a car the other day, shining a light on him, and no one's watching. When that guy tells you he's going to go run, he's going to go run. You've done it. You will continue to do it. We can no longer have people in office that take good work from good officers, and we have good officers.
There's
on
good
the border.
Yeah.
There's good people on the border that risk their own families, their own lives, that live in those communities. It's not easy living in a border town.
Their mental health.
I mean,
just lost another one a couple of weeks ago. A Border Patrol agent took his own life in the El Paso, Las Cruces sector. 14 last year.
I know. You know, one of them took his life on friends of ours' property with his service weapon in his uniform.
Yes.
Orphaning kids. This is not, and nothing. You don't hear about that. You don't hear nothing, none of that.
These are the secondary ripple effects of the demoralization. I tell people, it doesn't matter what you do, whatever job you do, you're a banker, you're a teacher. Imagine if your employer would strip you of that authority, of the reason you're supposed to be there, but not only do that, force you to break the law and do a different duty that you know is wrong, but you have to do it because you need to feed your family. You need the health insurance. You need that pension. Well, that times, I don't know how much, because they happen to be law enforcement, and they're supposed to be the one upholding the Constitution.
And there's death involved.
And there's death. And there's children. Yeah. And there's trafficking. And there's gang members. And there's terrorists. And there's
and their life and their life. Of course, it's not even just the suicide rate. It's just the overall. I think if we took an overall mental health analysis of every single law enforcement agency and their agents on the ground, none of them the next day would get a recommendation of, hey, you need to go back to work tomorrow. They would go, you need help. And
to that point, real quick, Jaco, one of the things that I want to do in Congress is kind of reestablish and look at that mission, because this administration has normalized what is going on. Yeah. And we do have, unfortunately, agents that threw their arms up in the air. Okay, well, I guess this is the way it is. No, this is not the way it is.
It's not.
We're going to refocus you back on the mission on both sides. CBP,
bring honor back,
and the honor, and the ones in blue at the ports of entry. Yeah. This is what you need to have, that passion to interdict the illicit bodies and substances that are coming through into our country, and you have to want to do that. And we have I remember at the academy standing there with the rain full of mud doing ops, and we're all complaining, and the instructors like, there's 1,000 people behind each and every one of you that will actually want to be here and defend the homeland. Yeah. So if you don't want to be here, leave now. Okay, no, I do want to do that. Yeah. And so we need to refocus, and we will. That's the easy part, and we get them back and pump them up.
Okay, question. You know, this is, I know you don't want to, but I just want to make people understand when they get to the ballot. It's Tony Gonzalez we don't want. It's Victor Avila we do want. Okay, for that seat. It's either or, and it's Victor Avila. Okay, we're going to throw his website up here where you can go and support, and I'm sure there's campaign contributions and people can help you and get a sign in your yard. But just do this for me. Just start talking about that district, Eagle Pass, and this race. Just talk about it. From today, I'm asking you to talk about it for 10 days. From today, just talk about that race. Talk about it. Victor is the solution. There's other people running, unqualified, could not even start to bring a solution to the table. Don't know nothing, okay? Victor, is that up yet?
That's Victor Avila for Congress.com.
Victor Avila, for those of you on podcast listening, AVILA, Victor Avila for U.S. Congress, Victor Avila for Congress.com. Check it out, and there's a lot there, and just a lot. All right. This notion, when Trump's in the White House, he'll deport everybody, okay? I'll make that statement. Then I'll say this. Not so easy.
No, I could tell you logistically.
No, can you please?
Yes, I will tell you the truth. We're not going to get to 35 million illegals. It's not going to happen. But I think this is what's going to happen.
Deporting?
Deporting. And it's not going to happen. But we are going to deport a lot of people. But here is the challenge. There's two big challenges. One is the state and locals from these sanctuary cities. They're not going to want to cooperate with the federal government when we go after them. They live in these cities, in these towns, these counties. Chicago, New York, and Denver, North Carolina, and they're all everywhere. That's going to be a struggle. So there's going to have to be a negotiation there from Department of Homeland Security with the new administration saying, we might have to cut you off if you're not going to participate with the federal, no funding for you, if you're not going to let us go in there and get them.
It's going to hurt.
That's one. The other one is, believe it or not, the home country of the illegals, they don't want to take them back.
Don't want to take them back.
Well, we cut your aid. Not only cut the aid, but
that's called repatriation.
Yes,
the repatriation, they don't want it.
What does that tell you? Why don't the Venezuelans want the Venezuelans back? We will highly suggest that they will. I'll put it to you that way. And economically, there's many ways, but there's several groups of illegals. You got your criminal, the worst of the worst. So obviously, those take priority. The ones that just came in, the 15 million, that, by the way, on November, the next day of the election, are going to find themselves with that permit is completely invalid because it was issued to you fraudulently. And so it means nothing. You will find yourself
through
with
a shadow immigration system.
Correct.
Today they're told they have
it's
status.
Like me going in to conduct a search warrant illegally, and everything I grab from that search warrant is not admissible because it's the fruit of the poisonous tree. That's exactly what's happening here. So they're going to be eligible. Plus, there's millions that already have deportation orders.
That just haven't been deported.
So we're going to go pick them up.
Because Biden shut down deportation court.
Correct.
There's no deportation hearings going on. He got rid of deportation judges.
And so what I do know is there's a lot of ways we could do this. There's a lot of different ways of removal. And I know we use the word deportation a lot, but believe it or not, deportation only comes from a federal immigration judge.
But there's
removals.
Voluntary departure.
VR.
Yeah.
Yes, you know these. There's a lot of different types of removals that they will sign to be removed. Now, the overstays. There are people that came into. There's more illegals in this country that came in an airplane with a valid visa that lied to us and said they were going to Disneyland, and then they overstayed.
Never left.
Yeah. Never left. They need to go. I see a ripple effect of us picking up 100,000, 200,000, 300, a million. That I think you will see people, especially the overstay, say they're going to come after me. I better go now. And you will see a percentage of them self-deport themselves back to their country. And this is where we now shift the burden back on those countries and say, the burden is on you to take care of your own citizen and remove that burden that we have placed on us.
But that's a responsibility. It's a biblical responsibility. Be a steward of what you were made steward over, which means Mexico president, you're abandoning your responsibility. Honduran president, have you seen a single one of these presidents come out and say, hey, my people, stay.
No.
This is our land. Build our land. No.
I'll give you one exception.
Not at all. Not one of them.
Bukele, El Salvador. He's the proof that it can be done.
It can be done.
But what is it based on? It's based on safety.
Yeah.
He got rid of MS-13. He put him in prison. And have you seen Salvadorians coming down the border?
But that's recent.
That's very recent.
Yeah.
But they stopped coming.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, some are self-deporting themselves back to their country because it's safe.
But it's their home.
It's their home.
Who doesn't want? It's their culture. It's their home. They were lied to.
Yes.
To come. As soon as that home is safe, as soon as that people want to be with their people, they got family there. This is where they went to school. This is their culture. Everything from food to language to nuance to memories. I mean, little things like visiting grave sites of family members or attending, in the American way, your alma mater's, football game. For them, it's soccer. All that is, I'm an immigrant. When you leave, it's gone. It's significant. I'm a legal immigrant. I'm a U.S. citizen now for many, many, many years. But it is a traumatic process, even if you do it legally. It's like a divorce.
Correct.
It's not easy. This is not, and then in the process, when they come through the Darien Gap and they work their way up through, they get raped, abused, lied to. I mean, it is a disaster. It's a humanitarian disaster. I mean, technically, Victor, for me, there should be over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, humanitarian tribunals in international court, crimes against humanity.
Yeah.
Just throw Anthony Fauci in there because it started with him and COVID.
Right.
Joe Biden. and then line them up, line these presidents up, line the leaders of these NGOs up and say, you've caused people to die. You lied to people. You misappropriated funds. So what should happen?
And the difference with the people coming now is that you talk about how difficult it is. The ones that truly want to come to the U.S. and become Americans,
they can't get in
and assimilate,
become
like
Americans.
My parents did.
Yes.
No, there's not even a line right now for them. They have been forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to change that system.
My own brother, 2 weeks ago, his visa was denied.
There you go.
To come visit family.
Yeah.
Denied his visa.
He's not going to be a public charge to the government. He's not going to take anything. And yet there's millions coming in through the border. It makes absolutely no sense. I have friends that I think out, and his wife lives in Mexico.
Yes.
And he's like, they're going on 5 years to do it the legal way. And
to
he moved to Mexico with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to change that system. We do want good people, and I want people to understand I'm very pro
there is reform
legal immigration.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
USCIS, these agencies, there's no need for the good people that have been vetted to wait 12 to 14 years. No, we want them
over
to
12 years to become a citizen.
There you go.
For me.
There you
and
go.
I don't even want to tell you how much money it costs.
That's right.
But I would do it 100 times, because to become an American citizen the legal way, and to become a citizen, and you're going to become a citizen, well, a legal way. They haven't gone there yet. They're
getting close.
Yeah, they would like to. Look, I'll say this. If we do not take this administration back, we will see that.
That's what they want.
We will see. We will see people. Didn't they just? Can you look this up for me real quick? Someone just got put on an immigration commission that's not even a citizen.
In California, San Francisco. Asian lady.
Asian lady. Pull this up for me. I want people to understand that they would want to grant citizenship to illegals.
We have illegal aliens that have completed a police academy in Los Angeles.
Giving them a gun.
To
enforce the law on American citizens, but they're not even legal. They're not citizens.
They want them in our military.
Check this out.
That's it. This is it.
Check this out. Okay, go to the headline for me. Cancel that out. Dan, go full screen for me, please. San Francisco appoints first non-citizen, she's swearing, to serve on elections commission. So wait, pause. This is a SNL skit, surely. This is a comedy show. A non-citizen is going to decide which citizens' votes counts and doesn't count.
The premise and the foundation.
The insane are running the asylum.
The foundation of our country is being destroyed. It's fundamentally been changed on purpose.
Yeah. By design.
By design. And I didn't believe in this just a couple of years ago. People tell me, what's the bigger picture? Well, they want them here for votes. Okay. Well, they want them here to count them for representation, because it's millions of people. You count them in the census illegally, you get another congressperson.
Can we just talk about that?
Yes.
Deeper. I want people to understand the difference, Victor.
Yes.
I want you to explain this. Please explain to people the difference between, okay, they can vote. That's not the bigger picture. We're redrawing the lines of our country. Can you explain, layman's terms, how that works and why that's important?
In our country, we get a representative based on the number of population in our districts.
Citizen or non-citizen?
Citizen or not. It's supposed to be only counting U.S. citizens that can vote. But they don't. The Biden administration, as soon as they came in 2021, they undid that rule. So they want to count these people. When you're looking at 15, 20, 30, whatever the number is, it's going to redistrict millions of people, meaning you'll need additional representation for that new number in Washington at the House of Representatives. That's what they want.
It's not going to go to a conservative.
No, they more than likely will go to a Democrat.
That's right.
And the Democrats will hold power forever. Forever in the House. And what does the House do when they have the power? They control the money. Mm-hmm. They control policy.
The purse.
They control all that. Here's the bigger picture, I think, because I could tell you firsthand that a lot of Democrats are waking up. The border is probably number one. Everything that we've talked about, and the Biden administration knows this, just like you and I know this. Hey, they don't like it. They don't like that their own people, especially the Black community, Hispanic community, are What do you mean they're not going to vote for us? That's supposed to be automatic for the last 50 years. It's not going to be automatic in 2024. So we're going to replace them.
Yeah.
We're going to replace them with millions of people from all over the world that will be under our control and our power.
Mm-hmm.
That is the bigger picture.
And people will say, well, what's the control? The control is this. We brought you here. We can remove you. We can change your life on a dime. We decide whether you work or don't work, whether you're legal or not legal. They're under a cloud. They will follow like sheep. They will follow
That's a
like
socialist communist
100%.
ideology.
That is Mao. That is Xi Jinping. That's how they do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was Joseph Stalin. This is what this is. This is what Trudeau's going in Canada. He's a communist. Guy's a communist.
By the way, the northern border.
Oh, it's a problem.
Nobody
talks about the northern border.
I did an interview yesterday about the northern border because of Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
Trudeau is facilitating, just like Mexico.
Yeah,
he won't do
100%.
anything to stop the terrorists and people. And the cartels have learned that, hey, wait a minute. Well, maybe we'll send one of the guys that the Tren de Aragua from Venezuela came through Canada.
Yeah.
So they are using the northern border to access us as well. Obviously, the southern border is still the bigger issue, but we cannot forget that that's also our border.
Yeah, look, Trudeau's the guy that showed up at the UN and said, look, it's one America. I want one America. And Joe Biden is for that, by the way. Which means one America means Canada, America, Mexico, U.S., Mexico, all just
like the UN.
One.
I mean, like the
EU.
Yes.
EU. No sovereignty. And the other thing is about redrawing the lines for representation, but it's also, for me, that is a long play to secure power. Okay, and you can't come back from that because that's almost impossible. The other thing is when you take a cup of coffee that's black and you just keep pouring milk in, soon you'll have more milk than coffee. That's just
Right.
the law of physics, okay? It is fundamentally changing our culture by letting other cultures come in, not requiring them to adopt the American culture. That's assimilation. I had to stand in front of an immigration judge, break allegiance with South Africa, forfeit that passport, pick up allegiance with America, swear to defend this nation, bearing arms if I have to against foreign and domestic terrorists, right? New flag, new national anthem, English,
Constitution,
laws. I had to pass an exam for branches of government. You had to speak and write English to pass the exam. None of that is being asked of a single migrant that's coming across the border. They will never be American.
That, Jaco,
you fundamentally change the culture of America. You can take the Constitution and set it on fire because it was written by men of God who are righteous men, moral men. It was written for a particular purpose, right? They don't believe in that. That's how you fundamentally change. Go look at London.
We're seeing them bring
their own flags,
their own ideologies, their own disrespecting ours, and you see the interaction with the police. You know the interaction with the police in Mexico and Central America is nowhere near.
Zero.
That's all they know.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell me, they're escaping socialism, and that's why they want to come. No, they're bringing socialism. They're bringing communism.
Victor, anybody, I'm from Africa. You bring people from Central Africa. Number one, Central Africa is radical Muslim factions, okay? Not just the Muslim religion. Black magic, voodoo, witchcraft. You're bringing stuff in that is so volatile, so dangerous, without requiring to say, "Pa," like I did.
Mm-hmm.
I went through, I think it was 14 rounds, okay? From vaccination history, from birth to my health records, service records, where, what, who, what did you do, my high school records, my diplomas, my college, then come past this exam, go to interview after interview, go in front of immigration judges, and you should, to become a citizen. Amazing. No. Come to the river, get Catholic Charities to throw a Red Cross blanket on your back, give you a pair of sneakers, a cell phone, plane ticket, just come in. And by the way, when you go to the airport, you don't go through TSA. You bypass. But you strip search the American guy who's got clear and pre-check, okay?
Yeah.
Who has flown 14 times in the last week, who's got retina scans and who knows what else, right? No. That applies to the potential threat. You know who the threat is? The voice of the American citizen.
The conservative voice especially.
Is a threat to big government. Not the criminals coming across the border. No, that's a means to an end. Victor Avila, running for U.S. Congress. Please help us to say, Congressman, U.S. Congressman Victor Avila. We need it. We need it on the border, Victor. I'm in that commission. I'm on that task force. Whatever we need to do, we're with you. We will bring some of the champions. We stand with you. Another amazing group, it would be Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is a phenomenal company, the only Christian conservative cell phone provider in the United States. They work with us. Our trip to the border together, they joined us. They help flip school boards where they want to bring diabolical curriculum into school boards like South Lake, Texas, and they help restore dignity, protecting children, protecting life, pro-life, protecting children in the womb. So if you're using a cell phone, you might as well pay money every month to a company that's going to take some of that money and pour it back into conservative Christian values, all right? Not another provider that funds Planned Parenthood. If you're concerned about cell phone towers and your level of service, this is a Patriot Mobile phone. You can get a new phone, take your old phone, transfer your number over. You pick your service provider because it's just a tower. Whether you like T-Mobile service, you get it at Patriot Mobile or Verizon or whatever your choice is. You're going to have phenomenal service, but you're going to sleep at night knowing that your money paid doesn't go to an organization that's fighting against your values. So why don't you call Patriot Mobile and mention the bottom line, mention that I sent you, or go to patriotmobile.com/the bottom line. You'll get free activation, and Glenn Story told me they'll even buy you out of your current contract. Check out Patriot Mobile. And then lastly, before we close, if you got to drink coffee, drink Storyville coffee. Every cup of coffee, Victor's drinking it right here. By Victor drinking that cup of coffee, he's helping us rescue children from human trafficking. Drink coffee with a purpose. Starbucks is not doing that. Go to StoryvilleCoffee.com. No special promo code. They've committed their whole company's mission to rescue children from human trafficking. StoryvilleCoffee.com. Victor, last word from you, please.
We are beyond the crossroads in our country. I tell people across the campaign and everywhere I go that you're going to get a real person. I'm a real person. I'm a person that's been there, that has been battle tested, I'm a man of faith, will bring and close that gap between this distance that we've always seen between Washington, D.C. and the real world.
Yeah.
I'm a real person that can bring that to them and make those very difficult right decisions instead of the easy wrong ones that we continue to see over and over in Washington, D.C. And to me, it's very simple. I'm an employee of the people. The people are going to be my employer, and I'm there to serve them. And these districts and these U.S. Congress races are impactful because they're national. Those votes not only impact the district that I represent, but it'll impact the state of Texas and the entire country. And that's why I need support from wherever it comes there, because you will see a positive effect moving forward, hopefully after March 5th.
Yeah, I'll say this, Victor, to you, brother to brother. Don't bow to money.
Nope.
Don't bow to people. You honor and serve God. You hold your head up. You go swing for the fences. You back up for nothing, for nobody. God will send his angels. They'll protect you. They'll cover you. There are other people that'll stand with you that will not bow, that will not back down. Go champion that. There are some others in Congress, the Chip Roys of the world, the Mary Middles of the world. They will stand with you. And that's how we're going to change this place, is we need to send the right people. God bless you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Talk to you guys next time. Victor Avila, check it out. Go and vote. Down ticket. Everything. Every vote matters. But we need to secure this border. We better do it quick. God bless you.